What is up and welcome back to the channel. So this video is for my single moms. I also mean single dads as well, single parents just in general, but I know that the majority of people who watch my channel are women and more so single women. So I'm going to be discussing 3 things that I believe that you should be doing if you are a single parent and you are on a financial journey. Number 1, don't let mom guilt cause you to overcompensate. And mom guilt is real. And I know that mom guilt, it's a very layered topic because there are so many factors that go into why someone is dealing with mom guilt, especially when it comes to the topic of finances. So maybe it could be an absent parent and you feel like you have to do double the work just so that absence isn't felt. I know a lot of times we don't feel confident in our finances and us to be able to, support our children in the way that we want to support them. So that causes us to overcompensate. Or it could just be you don't want your child to feel less than or to feel like they have to go without just because they come from a single parent household. Literally, the list goes on and on. It is specific and unique to each person's, experiences, and it's something that everyone deals with. I still deal with it. If I feel like my kids are in some way disappointed, I am waving the card. I'm waving the card in the air, looking for something to buy to make my kids feel better. And I've gotten a lot better over the years, but it's still something that I give myself grace with. And I know that, as long as I'm in my season of singleness and as long as I'm still living, that is going to be something that I have to actively battle. And so when you're dealing with that intense feeling of guilt for whatever your reason is, you go out and you want to buy them things, you go out and you want to do things, and that's to get those emotions off of you, to kind of like bounce that energy onto something. And so you want to go out and purchase these things, and it makes you feel good to see your kids smile. It makes you feel good to see your kids have a good time. And it also helps you to feel better about, your situation as well. You may see something in the store and your kids don't even ask for it, but you're kind of like poking and prodding to see if they want it because you really want to purchase it for them. And in turn, that just helps us to feel better. It is weird, but it does help us to feel better in a way. But we all know that, it doesn't have any long-term benefit, and really in reality what you're doing is making your situation worse. It's kind of like impulse shopping, emotional spending. It feels good in that moment to kind of like cover up and add flowers to a bad situation, but in turn it's just making your situation a lot worse, and it's keeping you in that negative pattern because you're not dealing with the root cause. You're just covering it up. And then once that high wears off, you're left right back with your reality that you're trying to run from. And going back to talking about, sometimes mom guilt comes from us not supporting our kids financially in the way in which we want to support them, or maybe we're having a hard time meeting their basic needs. We do tend to overcompensate more when that is our reality, which sounds a little counterintuitive because it's like I'm trying to support you financially better, but I am spending money on things that don't necessarily move the needle. But when you take the layers off and you look at it for what it is, it makes a lot of sense, because just at the end of the day, you're just trying to take care of your child and make your child smile, and in a way that allows you to do that in the moment. So what do I feel like is the solution to this? Because obviously, we want to feel confident when it comes to taking care of our children financially. But if we continue to overcompensate because of mom guilt, we're going to feel less confident over time because, number 1, you're going to then feel guilty for spending that money impulsively. And number 2, you spent the money, so it's going to make it a lot difficult to take care of their basic needs or set up their savings account or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And it may sound cliche, but I honestly, truly believe that this is it's really the only solution, and that is to be confident in your ability to take care of your kids financially, emotionally, mentally, all of those areas. If you're not confident, it's going to cause you to overcompensate in those areas. If you are confident, then you don't need to overcompensate because you're confident in your ability to touch on each one of those areas. And I'm not saying that this solution is something that's going to, you're going to snap your finger and you're going to have that confidence. Absolutely not. It's going to take weeks, months, probably years to get yourself to a place where you don't feel the need to pick up a card and start swiping for something that your kids really don't need, but you just want them to have because it makes you feel better about the situation that you're in. Literally just take small baby steps. It's going to be a series of small gradual steps. So maybe every single month you have a main focus when it comes to your finances. Maybe that is only eating out on the weekends every single week. Maybe that is to only spend $200 in, personal spending for that entire month. Whatever it is, set your intention for every single month. Make sure that it's not too grand of an intention, because you want to start small and start working your way into building those habits that you need to get yourself to your main goals. And then as you start making these small gradual changes, in turn, you will see more of a long-term benefit and you're going to feel more confident in these areas. Number 2, put your finances first. Now, as a parent, you don't really hear this often. You often hear a bunch of, put your kids first. Your kids should come first. In a lot of areas, they should. But I truly believe that when it comes to finances, you need to put yourself first. And when I say put yourself first, I'm talking about establishing your savings account. I'm talking about setting up your retirement fund. I'm talking about setting a budget and sticking to it. I am talking about investing for yourself when it comes to long term, because when you work on yourself financially, you don't become a burden to your kids later on in life. I don't believe that your kids should be one of your retirement plans. A lot of times we've seen that as children become adults, they have to take on the burden of taking care of their parents financially. And when they have their own families to take care of, and they are trying to establish themselves and set themselves up for their future, it can make it a lot harder for them to do that. And we all want what's best for our kids. We all want our kids to have more, bigger, and better than what we have. But when you're not taking care of yourself financially first, in turn, you could keep that cycle in rotation when it comes to your children, because they kind of have to halt what they're doing to help you carry some of your weight. And so with me, I obviously became a first-time homeowner this year. The home has literally whipped my behind with all these repairs. And so as I'm recovering and building back my emergency fund, my kids' investments accounts were the first ones to be reduced over mine, because I need to make sure that my accounts are fully funded, because once again, I'm older. I have less time for that money to sit and grow. And I want to make sure that my kids, I'm not a burden on my kids. I want my kids to, go out and thrive and not have to worry about their mama, but also I want to be that parent that has a solid foundation for her kids. I want to make sure that my kids can go to me and I can afford to financially assist my kids with certain things, so they don't have to carry some of the weight and learn some of the hard lessons that I had to learn, because I took those lessons and I ran with it, and I made a plan to keep those lessons from my children. And whether you realize it or not, your child's relationship with money starts in the home. How they move with money, how they view money, their entire relationship, how they manage money, it all starts in the home. They are watching you. And unfortunately, a lot of times money is very taboo. It's very hush-hush. People don't like to talk about it, even still in 2023. And so that can leave your kid at a disadvantage, I believe, because they're going to have to go out and go through the long trial and error phase where we are entering the world of money. The world revolves around money. We're not taught about money besides what we have picked up on in regards to observation, which may not be a good thing if we're not managing our money correctly. But they go out and they know nothing about money. And so they go through this trial and error phase where they're basically winging it and they're learning the lessons along the way, but they're losing a lot of time, because even in, I'm in my big 30s, I'm still learning some lessons that I was not taught. And so if they don't learn the lessons now, they're going to be stuck in that trial and error phase for quite some time. And even if you don't have a lot of money to leave your children, leaving them knowledge, I feel like, will take them a very long way. Probably a longer way than just giving them some money and no knowledge to go with maintaining it. And if you're thinking, you know, I don't really know much, I'm in my beginning stage, I don't know what I could teach them, just teach them what you wish you would have known, what you wish somebody would have taught you. And as you're going through the process, let them in on your financial journey with you. And that leads me to number 3, include your kids in your financial planning. Now, I am not talking about, you know, including them in a will or anything. I mean just your financial journey right now as you are planning and organizing your money through your budgeting process or your goal setting process. Include your children in that as well. Of course, it's going to depend, you know, on their age, how you kind of structure the topic and what you do include them on. But I have found, especially when I was coaching clients, the ones who had children who could comprehend what was going on, they were their biggest cheerleaders, and they really kept them in check when it came to their spending on the budgeting side of things. And so as you're going through and you're planning out your money for the month with your budget, include your kids in that as well. Let them see how you are dividing up your income. And if it comes to something like, you know, personal spending, get with them and allow them to have some input on what you guys will be doing for the month. That way they feel included, but they're also learning as well. And you know, whenever you're going out to the grocery store or whatever outing that you have planned, let them know how much you have in your budget to spend. And you might be surprised to see how their little brains keep track of how much you have remaining. You can bring them a little calculator or whatever it is that helps them feel included. I used to do this with my daughter, not so much now because we're in the preteen stages, so I'm just kind of having to go with the flow, you know, with that. But it was really exciting for her to keep track of the list and how much we had remaining. And I will say, even though she's in her preteen stage, she still keeps me in check because she's like, Mama, I don't want to go into debit. She really means debt, but she was like, I don't want to go into debit. And so she still keeps me on my toes when it comes to budgeting and, you know, the financial side of things, because I have kept her along with me for this journey for about 5-6 years now. And so kids are a lot smarter, you know, than what we give them credit for. And learning about how to properly manage your money is unfortunately not something that a lot of them are learning in school. So we have to take the reins on that. We should be taking the reins on that anyway, I believe. And this is going to be something that's going to carry them through for the rest of their life. So you don't have to know the ins and outs of, you know, finances and all the jargon and things like that. Just simply take them on the journey with you. And as you learn, then you in turn teach your kids. And so I really hope that I got your mind twirling when it comes to these 3 things you should be doing as a single parent. Let me know down below what else you feel like we should be doing or to add to any of these things that I have talked about. And I will catch you guys in the next video.